Welcome to Dead Talk, the podcast where we dissect one Grateful Dead song at a time. Join me as we explore the history, meaning, and musical composition of their classic tracks. Whether you're a longtime Deadhead or curious newcomer, there's always something new to discover about the music of the Dead. So sit back, relax, and let's dive deep into the world of the Grateful Dead. All right, welcome to Dead Talk, episode 7. Where we have a very special guest today on the show. He has made quite the name for himself around St. Louis in the past few years. You may have caught him over the last year or so with the Mighty Pines, Sean Cannon's Voodoo Players, Brother Francis and the Soul Tones, the Hillary Fitz Band, Peter Proclaim and the American Standard, Pickin' Buns, the Hamilton Band, and most importantly, his original Jamgrass act, One Way Traffic. They just had their album release show at the Old Rock House like 2 weekends ago, supporting their newest album, Move Into the Outside. Please welcome St. Louis's hardest working musician, Drew Lance.
Damn right.
Thank you.
So, Drew, my favorite part about having guests on the show is putting the responsibility of picking the song that we discussed on the guest. So would you mind introducing the song and telling Max and I why you wanted to come on and talk about this song?
Yeah, I wanted to do Box of Rain because I knew the song roughly, but I didn't know exactly what it was about. I thought it would be fun to dive in to what it was about, why it was written, who wrote it, those kind of things. And I think it's a special song for many reasons, but it wasn't until I actually looked into it that I realized why it's so special. And, so that's why I figured this would be a great one to talk about,
Okay, yeah. Before we get into it, I just like to put out the facts a little bit. So Box of Rain was released on the 1970 album American Beauty. It was the first track, and the first time they played it was March 21st, 1970 at the Capitol Theater in Port Chester, New York. And the last time they played it was in 1995. They had it about 25 years of their career before Jerry passed. In those 25 years, they played it about 335 times, which sounds like a lot, but we've done some research, and on their higher end kind of songs, it's on the 700 to 800 times.
Oh, wow.
Over the course of the career. So 335 is actually pretty low, especially with it coming out so early in their career.
Right.
I don't know if you listen to much Dead, whole shows, but it's hard to come across a live Box of Rain.
Yeah.
So upon your research going into the song, getting ready for the podcast, what really surprised you that you found, and you're like, oh damn, I can't wait to share this?
I really, the fact that like you said, it was hard to find a live version. The fact that they played it in 1980, and then 2 years
70.
Or sorry, yeah, right. And then 2 years went by, and they didn't play it again, and then they played it one or two more times, and then 13 years went by.
Wow, 13 years without playing it. Why do you think that is?
I think it might be because of just the burden, of singing such a heartfelt song, and Lesh's father passing. I'd imagine it just is an emotional song for him to sing, especially since it's one of his only that he's singing.
Yeah, for sure. It's really. It might be.
It's his only. It's his only one. He sings
yeah.
some backing vocals on
For
Truckin'.
sure, yeah.
That's it. And so I think that might play into it as well. I don't know, if there were nerves at play. Maybe.
It could have been something that he could do in the studio, but actually couldn't play the bass and sing it. Not that he's good enough.
Well,
but
sure.
maybe.
The tune there's so many changes and so many lyrics, so I could see where it would be a tough song to perform.
And knowing how the bass plays in Grateful Dead, I couldn't imagine singing and playing. It's not just straight like the drums.
Right.
It's, him being a composer, he's doing all kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah, it's emotive.
Yeah, the live versions that I did find, I honestly wasn't a huge fan of it. Honestly, the studio version, the harmonies are so gorgeous, and they got that acoustic like cowboy vibe going, and it is hard to translate in a live show, and there's really no like jamming on it or anything, so that might be another reason they weren't really into it, because they never really like stretched it out or like
there's just a solo.
I think I remember seeing a video of them with Jerry Garcia talking about how hard they worked in the studio to get those harmonies.
I believe
typically don't, they're not known for harmonies.
Well, right, and
we all know that.
Yeah.
What's also interesting about it is, though the harmonies like they work for the song, they're technically not. They're not like triads. They're not.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them are doubling. They're double, like they're just octaves.
Yeah.
You
hear that low octave and it's like, why is someone singing that?
So it's not like technically a 3-part harmony. It's just like 2 harmonies. Just 2 of them are being sung in different octaves, because, and that's what's beautiful about it, is it still works really well, even though it's not technically a triad, and I thought that was a really cool part of the song too. Because like even like on the Box of Rain line, like it's not technically a harmony. They're singing like in unison,
and like the really high octave too, like Box of Rain,
right?
Like, it's so high.
It's just the melody, it's just way high. But I think that's kind of a cool touch to the tune too.
Yeah, the live versions I did find that I liked better than other ones that I found. They have the So Glad You Made It compilation. It's on Spotify or Apple Music. It's the skull with the Indian headdress. It's like spring 1990.
Yeah.
They played Box of Rain on that at the Civic Center in Hartford, Connecticut on March 19th in 1990. And that was the best one that I could find from like the Grateful Dead, which was like near the end of it. So they were, I guess, had like time to like practice it, but it was still way faster. Like any live version I found was way faster than the studio version.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I wasn't like too big of a fan of the speed up. I like the tempo.
Yeah, I kind of like that it's like groovy. It's like a mid-tempo song.
Yeah.
So it's not really a ballad. I mean, they have great ballads that they would probably perform, and maybe that's why they didn't pick it, because it is mid-tempo.
Right.
And they're either doing their, especially in the West LA fadeaway, or they're doing these numbers to get everyone grooving and dancing, and then they'll take it all the way down with like To Lay Me Down or Loser. Something that's just really slow.
Very slow.
Yeah, the best live performance I could find was like a studio outtake that you could tell was live. They were just kind of practicing it, and that's on the American Beauty Angels share that was released last year in 2022, of like outtakes of like them recording the studio versions of songs, and you can hear Jerry talking at the end. He's like, "Let's listen to those, gents." There's like some banter. They're practicing, so it's technically like live, but it wasn't during a show.
Yeah.
So I guess they were like really just working on the harmonies. It's just one acoustic guitar and like probably everybody singing.
Yeah, I think that also that was what I thought was interesting, is that it was the last tune that the Dead played as a band. And I think that carries weight. Like that gives the song. I mean, they had to choose that. Like that had to be written on the set list, and they had to think about that and be like. They probably knew, that it was the last time, or that it was close, that something was happening.
Jerry's health or something.
Jerry's health was declining, and I just think it would be crazy to think that they wouldn't have known that they weren't gonna continue playing,
especially as a second encore. There must have been something spiritual in the green room,
right
after a normal encore.
Yeah.
To go, man, we need to go out there and we need to do Box of Rain. Like, these are precious moments with Jerry, and maybe it was a subconscious thing of all the young guys in the band.
Well,
like,
it gives you chills, It gives me goosebumps to think like he's singing a song, which I interpret to be kind of about, facing our mortality with grace, and here he is like on the brink of death, and he's singing this song, and it's the last song that they're going to play as a band. I mean, it all just adds up so well that it's like, it had to be intentional. I feel like it had to be intentional, you know, and yeah, that's just such a beautiful like scene, you know. You couldn't write it better, you know.
Yeah.
So
I have a fun one for you on that, since you brought up Box of Rain and the spiritual side of it. Robert Hunter like never really would talk about his songs and explain his lyrics like most writers, but he did these mailbags in the 90s where fans could write in and he would write back, you know, like a letter, you know, before before people were tweeting.
cute.
You know, like, I want to get a hold of Robert Hunter. Well, you got to write his P.O. box.
People were tweeting.
No tweeting, like instant gratification. But someone wrote, was like, I'm wrapping my head about Box of Rain. I can't figure out what the hell a Box of Rain is, obviously. And basically, he, you know, it goes over the whole story like you're talking about, where Phil Lesh comes to him with the cassette, with the intro, the coda, literally everything written out in total musicianship that he is, with the scatting, like you said. And he wrote it out on a car ride really quickly. And he changed it from Ball of Rain to Box of Rain just because of the sound.
Right.
So the ball of the rain is the earth.
Yeah.
And we are on the earth of rain.
That would make it easier to interpret.
Rain, sorrow.
Yeah, and
cloudy mood.
Just thought that box fit better.
Box just sounded better, like, fit
that's
better.
So funny.
Yeah.
Because it could have easily been Ball of Rain.
Yeah.
You know?
But now singing is Ball of Rain.
Yeah, right. Now it doesn't sound
Now
right.
it's weird.
It's very true.
I love when writers, like, side note, I love when writers do that. Like Manhunter, Hall & Oates, they have a similar story like that. It's written about a woman, it's written about a man, but he didn't want to sing about a man, so he just changed it. Whoa, there she goes. It's actually a guy he's talking about when he wrote it.
Oh my god!
But they didn't want to be like, whoa, here he comes, or here he goes.
Okay.
Watch out, girl, he'll chew you.
That's funny. just
dumb,
just
little
rolls
dumb
off
little
the
stuff.
tongue better.
Yeah, where you just change it because it sounds better.
Yeah. I read that too. I thought that was so interesting. You know, also just the lyrics themselves, you know, are beautiful, but also can be interpreted in so many different ways. The imagery, you know.
Oh yeah, even just starting out, look out of any window, any morning, any evening, any day.
Any day.
You could just simplify that to like at all times, everywhere. You know. Like,
Yeah, it's like
it really paints a picture.
it does, and like the ribbon for your hair, you know,
Yeah.
the splintered sunlight. You know, I thought the splintered sunlight was just a beautiful line, like because you can really like see what he's going for, you know. They're like, but it's like broad.
Yeah.
You know, it's really up to you, you know, but like even if it means nothing to you, he at least will paint a picture there by using a bunch of different like imagery that makes you see something.
Yeah.
I mean, you at least see the
and
ribbon.
It's everywhere, because he says, look out any window. And then in the next verse, walk out of any door. So there's the any. And then in the third verse, look into any eyes. So it's anything, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Anything, anywhere. Just look. This has one of my favorite lines of probably any song that I think about a lot. It's such a long, long time to be gone, but a short time to be there or here or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I always think about that when I'm on vacation, because it's like you go on like a 10-day vacation, and when you're on vacation, you're like, dang, I wish it was 14 days or a month. I always want to be on vacation, but like back home, it's like, man, dude, you were gone forever. You know, like,
Yeah, because you went on this journey.
yeah, and
You
they're
come
like,
back all enlightened.
Yeah, like if you're like in a routine and people are used to seeing you, like 10 days is a long time for like an absence of like you and doing yourself. Like if we go on vacation, our dogs would be like, dang, it's been 10 days.
Right.
Or
Where
like,
you been?
or like people at work be like, man, you haven't worked here forever.
Right. Yeah.
I
and
just
then,
think about that a lot when I'm traveling.
well, then you take that concept and apply it to life, you know, and life on Earth. And it's like, yeah, man, that's like it is a short time that we are here and a long time that we are not on this planet, you know, and that is just like such a beautiful line. And you know, I forget what song it was, but that line is a nod to an older song that pretty much says the same thing. Bye Bye Birdie, I think, or something.
Oh,
like
really?
That. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because they say it at the end of that tune too.
Yep.
And
Little Birdie.
Little Birdie.
Southern
Okay.
mountain banjo tune.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know that one. I knew. It's Bye Bye Love. I know. Bye Bye Love. Bye Bye Happiness. Goodbye. Or whatever.
Loneliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm the one and die.
That's a great song.
It is, yeah. So I wonder, why do you guys think like this was a pretty successful song? I would say as far as their career goes. Like I think everybody was hoping to hear it live more, and I'm just curious why you guys think like since Phil Lesh and Hunter had this amazing song together, why it was the only one.
Right. Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, we should write more songs together.
Just
You know,
gonna
but
stop it there.
I was like, I did it once, don't need to do it again.
Yeah, I wonder. I guess you could speculate.
Yeah.
You know, like, but yeah, maybe Phil just didn't really want to sing. I mean, he had vocal cord surgery for incorrect singing. So maybe
he was
it
a
was
bad singer
maybe
and he had surgery to make him a good singer.
he was a bad.
I need that surgery.
He was a great singer that sang with incorrect technique and hurt himself.
Oh,
you
damn.
know, that's I think that might have something to do with not wanting to
do it.
to sing. You know, like you're afraid. You know, you can't do it. Like I mean, nothing like hurts worse than just totally biffing a note. You know, because everybody's
A
listening to the
microphone
weird
in front of thousands of people.
Oh yeah, and on that level, you know, I imagine, I think it had to do something with that, with you know the fact that he was physically in pain to be singing.
I could see that.
Yeah.
You know,
I also think they were just a completely different live band, and that was just a little chapter snippet of a live or like a studio session of like, hey, let's all sit around Jerry on the guitar.
Yeah, and you know,
and
that's another thing that's super interesting about the tune is Jerry played piano.
Oh, cool.
He didn't
Yeah,
play the
nice.
guitar
Yeah,
on the tune. The New Riders of the Purple Sage guitar player played guitar on the tune. And that is, you know, that's wild to me to think. I forget his name, but he is a phenomenal guitar player too. But yeah, cool. You know, so many changes, and he did all that on the piano. That you know,
With 9 fingers.
with 9 fingers, just wasn't an instrument that he couldn't like really get a hold of.
wow,
You know,
that's an awesome fact. Thank you for that.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
I think a lot of people are gonna like that one.
that is. Yeah, it's wild to think. You know, like I would just love to see like a recording of him playing. You know, just to see what it looks like.
Yeah, I never have a picture of Jerry Garcia on piano in my mind. I mean, every stringed instrument, I just imagine he can.
Well, piano
obviously
is
pedal
technically
steel.
a stringed instrument.
True. Malleted instrument.
Yeah, like I see him with a banjo before I, you know, see him
Yeah.
on a piano. You know, just from the Old and the Way things, and
Yeah.
you know, even a bass. You know,
I could see him killing it on
that.
upright
You
bass
know, but when it comes to the piano, it's like whoa.
Yeah, I guess
Curveball.
once you got that much knowledge of just music theory in general, not specifically to one instrument, it can kind of translate as long as you know how the notes are laid out and how to play them. And I guess piano would maybe be like the easiest to like lay out notes. You know, you just press a button instead of.
It's easy as pressing a
And
button.
it's all like up down, you know, with the half step. So
Black, white keys. You
Yeah.
know.
almost makes me wish he had more piano music or
Yeah.
like any piano
I wonder
music. Really,
if he
Just like
does. You know, I wonder if there's anything out there. But I know that was the only Grateful Dead tune that he played the piano on, and I wonder just what the decision behind that was. You know, like
Yeah, I think that one they
Yeah, how did that happen?
They were really experimental with the studio and that with the harmonies, and then the mandolin player, what's his name?
David
Starts with D.
Grisman?
David Grisman was on there for a couple tracks playing
Dude,
mandolin.
I love anything David Grisman and Garcia.
yeah,
That's
absolutely. Those pizza tapes,
Oh,
I've been
man.
listening to those lately.
I love those with the Shady Grove. And,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And all the banter that they
Yes.
Oh yeah, I love
it's
just like
great.
hearing him talk.
Yeah, and like he just like plays a perfect song, and he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna need to do another
I
tape.
need to do another one of those.
We're gonna need another one on that."
Nice. Well, as far as Phil Lesh being not the greatest singer for the song, or kind of like in general, I guess. Like you were saying, it was kind of hard for him. I saw Dead and Company in 2019 at Folsom Field in Boulder, Colorado, and they played Box of Rain. And the show's on Spotify, and this is probably my favorite live performance of Box of Rain that I could find online. Was this show that I actually happened to be at.
Nice.
So that's really cool. I really like John Mayer's voice on this, and it's kind of like a sing-along song. Like, they don't really like jam it, so it was just like a straight on, like 5-6 minute, just play it on through and sing it and let the crowd go, and
yeah,
it worked out really nicely.
Yeah, I could see him singing this well, and you know, I love some of the things that Phil does in the tune. Some of the vocal choices are really cool.
Yeah,
they're really soulful, like yeah,
Yeah,
like stuff like that. It's like, man, he had a soulful approach to singing, and I'm sure that's why he like probably hurt himself. You know.
Yeah.
we should tweet Phil Lesh and see if he has that cassette, so we can hear the scatting and then listen to the recording.
It's probably just like that.
Yeah. So, Hunter, I was thinking something like this.
And then for Robert Hunter to be able to interpret that, and then
write
like,
some
say no
pure
more
gold poetry
for
to
real,
it.
like not even just like putting words to it, like actual image evoking poetry, you know, like about, and then like, you know, I like the part of the chorus too. You know, what do you want me to do for you to see you through? And you got to remember, like, Robert Hunter's writing a song about essentially his friend's dad dying. And that, like, line is kind of almost suggestive in a way. Because it's like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
You know, to make you fucking okay with this.
Like,
you know?
you guided me my whole life, and now you're gone, and now I'm not really sure how to go about life without you.
And then you can
and then a stanza
it.
right after that. It's all a dream we've dreamed one afternoon long ago. So we're just saying, like, yeah, we've all thought about our dad dying a long time ago, but I don't know how to help you with that.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, that's deep.
It's very deep and very honest, you know, like an honest take on, instead of just like, you know, just being pure sad about it. It's like real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
like
real.
really
It's just a box of rain.
looks at life at like
That's all
in
it
like
is.
retrospect of like a before your existence, during your existence, and then after your existence.
Right.
Instead of just like, oh, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's
It's
gone.
like, oh, he's gone, but he's gone somewhere we don't even know what's going on out there. You're only here for a short time. Out there, you're out there wherever that is for a long ass time.
Yeah, such a long time to be gone.
Right.
Short
So we've
time
got
to be
two
here.
songs in the Dead that are about fathers. That's kind of cool. So He's Gone is about Mickey's Hart's father.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, about
Embezzling money.
stealing money from the band. He was like the bookkeeper. So it's like totally different style.
Right.
Versus this one.
Where you can tell Phil really loved his dad.
Did
and
Hunter
really
write that
wanted-
one?
No, I think,
I was gonna say, if it's all coming from Hunter, he's
remember.
just
Yeah, it was a Garcia Hunter about
Was it?
Mickey's dad. Yeah.
Okay, Garcia did write it down.
We had an
Or Hunter.
episode about it.
Dude,
This is actually the first podcast episode that we've done so far. That was not a Hunter Garcia
that's true.
track.
very cool.
So I was kind of excited to
Yeah, that's kind of special too.
Yeah.
step out of the realm and hit the Phil zone for a second.
Hit the Phil
for
zone.
the only song he's got.
filling station.
It was I think this might be the most covered Grateful Dead song as far as like bands like covering it in the studio. I looked it up today just on Spotify. I found so many covers, including one from Kurt Vile. Yeah,
Oh, sweet.
There is
Check that out.
there's a whole cover album. I think it's just called The Day of the Dead, where it's like a whole cover album of like kind of like bigger musicians covering Dead songs, and Kurt Vile is on there and doing Box of Rain.
I have to check that out. I'm sure that's going to become my favorite version.
Yeah,
I love
no.
Kurt Vile.
Yeah, it's really rock and
Big
roll.
fan.
I also found some from Steve Forbett, Sloan Wainwright, Wake the Dead, Elena Lauren, The Pickin' On series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're like a studio band.
Yeah.
They do a bunch of like Pickin' On.
Like Picking
different
on
bands.
Modest Mouse and Picking on.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
The Modest Mouse one's the one I like a lot. Yeah.
Fate Inc. Hearing Dogs. This cover is a punk cover,
What?
which is kind of weird. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but it exists out there on the internet. So. And then the EVT band. So those are just a few that I found just like on a quick Spotify search. So
That's wild.
I through the research of our other songs for other episodes, I found a couple studio covers, but this one was like people really like the studio version of the song enough to like recreate it.
I mean, yeah, and I see why. It's a beautiful tune.
Yeah, and it can, as far as the lyrics, like musically, it can be interpreted in so many different ways. Like the Sloan Wainwright one was mainly like on piano, like really soft, kind of like a melody or like a lullaby.
Nice.
But I guess my favorite cover would be the Dead and Company one. I guess you'd call that a cover.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some kind of I forget which movie it was, but I was doing a little research too, and I found there was like a scene in a movie where it's like a big hurricane's happening, and it's like the main character and a young child are like trapped in this room, and he sings Box of Rain to this young child as like a comforting, because they know they're gonna die, type of.
Wow.
Yeah, and it made me. I'll have to check it out again because I want to see the scene.
Yeah.
Because I bet it's really great.
Yeah.
That just you can imagine. Like the last words, and it's a child. It's just
Yeah.
It's a beautiful way to put that song out into the world, like in a scene like that.
Wow. So it was like the character just like singing it in the scene. It's not like a background song during it. Wow.
Just kind of like singing it to this
Wow,
child,
that's
and it
powerful.
like calms the child. Of course, they pass, but yeah, it's.
Wow.
Yeah.
What movie was this?
I forget. I was
Okay.
looking at. I'll text you or something.
All right. Yeah, I'll put it in the blog post. I always have
Perfect.
like a more detailed writing out so we can kind of refer back to it and get a little more detailed afterwards, because you brought up so many things that I didn't even know or think about. Or
Yeah,
read up on.
I'm sure there's so many more that I don't
Yeah.
know.
That's what's beautiful about it.
right. It's deep. It's a deep song.
Yeah, so it's as far as playing it goes, there's a lot of freaking chords to it.
I know. That's
Yeah.
why I texted you earlier, and I was like, if you want to audible, we can audible.
I didn't even know what you meant by that.
like pick a different song.
Okay, no. I mean,
You're like, no, I'm excited to play it. I was like, all right, well then I'm ready. I have the easy job.
yeah, because you were planning on playing it on the ukulele as well, singing it, and I guess you looked up the chords. You're like, oh,
I didn't know a
I'm
lot of
excited.
them. I was like, I can't play it.
It's like, wait, this is not G and C and D?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm not
Like,
having it.
well,
okay.
there's G, C, and D in it, but
Along with a bunch of others.
I think we're just gonna try it out. Like Drew's got a beautiful singing voice, so I think we're gonna just have Drew lead on it, and I don't know if we're gonna. The harmonies on it are really hard, so I don't know if we're gonna even attempt it.
Right on.
But I can just play the guitar, and you can sing while Max keeps us all together with his cajon, and
Cool.
try it out a couple times, and
Yeah,
go
let's do
from
it.
there.
Heck yeah. Sounds
Thanks
good.
for doing this, Drew.
Well, Drew,
course.
thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys.
much for coming on to Dead Talk, episode 7.
Right on.
And make sure to catch Drew all over St. Louis all the time. He plays like 10 shows a week.
Yeah,
maybe.
it happens. Yeah, it happens like that.
I'm going on record claiming Drew Lance as the hardest working musician in town.
Thank you.
Thank you for having or coming on the show.
This is so cool. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. I can't wait to share it, and I hope you guys keep doing this thing. It's really cool. So
Tight. I
Yeah.
think we're going to keep going. It's really fun just having people like you in my house and talking shit.
yeah, you get to meet new people and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, learn about these tunes, and yeah, man, it's all a very good thing.
All
think
right.
it's
I
cool.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the 7th episode of Dead Talk, and we will see you next week.